More positivity. Hooray! I'm John Renton with my 30 favorite matches of 2021, Part 2. Yeah, the honorable mentions were in Part 1, because why do more honorable mentions when I have the rest of the list to talk about? That's not how lists work, you silly goddamn goose. Honk honk. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments, please. And please let me know your top 5, your top 10 favorite matches of the year. Whether they're in, whatever company, doesn't really fucking matter. It could be independent promotions. Indie wrestling deserves all kinds of love. There's been some great indie matches I've seen at the few shows I've been able to attend since indie promotions have started running again in this state. So, we go to number 15. Damien Priest and Bad Bunny versus Miz and Morrison from WrestleMania 37 Night 1. Yes, this is this high. Is this match a technical classic? No. Is it well wrestled as far as is it Brett versus Owen? Is it, is it this iconic Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13? Is it Brock versus Kurt Angle until Brock pretty much brained himself, doing a shooting star press? Is it any of those? No. But you know what it is? It's something that made me eat fucking crow, because I thought, and I'm not talking about the puppet, by the way, from Mystery Science Theater 3000. That would take on a whole different meaning. Eating puppets. What the fuck is wrong with you if you want to do that? Anyway, I was super critical of Bad Bunny being involved. Not that I didn't think that the guy wasn't a nice guy, but I was just like, why the fuck are they doing it? This is stupid. He showed up at the Royal Rumble, rather, and was aligned with Damien Priest, this kind of stuff and whatever. And I'm like, this is going to be stupid. This isn't going to work. All this stuff and da-da-da-da-da. It was obvious that Bad Bunny was a wrestling fan. And still is. I mean, and he's done interviews since this match where he talked about all the bumps and everything, and he doesn't understand how anybody can do this because of all the hard work that goes into it. I went into this match expecting to hate it. I was like, oh, this is going to suck. This is going to suck. And I ended up tweeting out in about the same amount of words. I'm like, I think this might be one of my favorite matches of the year. And I'm shocked to say that. So I will gladly eat crow and say I was fucking wrong. That Bad Bunny's involvement ended up working out. He was there for every goddamn spot. Yes, it was crafted to make sure they featured him right. He sold and everything. He did the stuff. And Damien Priest did what he did, and it was perfectly crafted to play to his strengths and hide his weaknesses. But the celebrity at the end of the day has to arrive and do some good shit, i.e. not Jay Leno at Road Wild 98, i.e. not really, 90% of the celebrities they involve in matches, whether WCW or WWE. But Bad Bunny did as much good shit as far as being a celebrity in a match. It was as great as it could be. It's definitely not something that's going to be like, oh, hey, I love these moves, I loved all this, but he did a fucking Canadian Destroyer outside and did it well. Morrison took it, and there was some great action here, and he did everything he needed to do to basically, show that it was well worth them investing in bringing him in. And again, I gladly eat crow over it. I was wrong, and I'm glad I was wrong, because this turned out to be one of my favorite matches of the year. And now that it's ranked above some of the matches that were in Part 1, I'm pretty certain I will be open to a ton of criticism. But again, I'm not saying that this match is great as far as wrestling ability, but as far as pure entertainment, gotta put it up there. Number 14, Roman Reigns versus Edge versus Daniel Bryan. This is for the Universal Championship, WrestleMania 37 Night 2, Electric Boogaloo. Okay, you could argue forever and a day, and, argue until the end of time. Argue until there's only time, like Enya talked about. You could argue until we're in After Earth and everything, and there's giant creatures, and Will Smith and Jaden Smith overacting and everything and doing really bad shit. Don't know where this tangent's going. The whole point is you could argue about Daniel Bryan being included in this match. Guess what? It fucking worked. And the great thing about it was we got to see the visual of Roman smashing and stacking two men on top of each other so he can go backstage and get head at the table. Who doesn't love seeing the tribal chief getting head at the table? I know you do. You're fucking lying if you don't. But this match was fucking tremendous. Bryan in his last big WWE match, even though he did have that match with Roman Reigns a little bit later on SmackDown. Edge, yeah, maybe he could have gotten a singles match, but it was a bit ridiculous. It was a triple threat, but it was what it was, and it was fucking great. And Roman, with the visual of beating two guys, it was great. It was great shit, and it was a way to establish Roman Reigns in front of the first live audience that he's dealt with since, becoming the tribal chief. It was really good stuff. Now, We move on to number 13. Sasha versus Bianca versus Becky. SmackDown Women's Championship Triple Threat at Crown Jewel 2021. Yes, a Crown Jewel match is made onto my favorites list. Heads explode. Okay, outside of the fact that it's in Saudi Arabia, nothing against the fans, but the government being, even more backwards than the government here, which is saying something. Even though it's like right now, it seems like they're both trying to compete to see how they can handle women. But moving on from that, off of my soapbox, this match, despite the fact that the women had to be covered up because the Saudi people are so goddamn horny, they can't fucking deal with seeing women and having their arms exposed. You fucking weirdos. Anyway, they actually respect women so much that they get stoned over there. Off of my soapbox. This match, fucking tremendous. I praise this highly. In fact, this was well worth tuning in and watching the goddamn show, even though the show itself was kind of absolutely messy, with some standout moments, and this was the biggest standout moment. Fucking great, with great, work by all three women, and the fact that all three just got to, showcase, like fucking Bianca doing the goddamn one-arm press slam because she's just a freak of fucking nature, which I mean in the best way possible. Sasha trying to murder her knees and destroy her neck and everything for the love of the business, and because her weave has overtaken her goddamn head, and Becky Lynch just being the leader of the lynch mob, which certainly the Saudi government would approve of as far as women. Moving on. They just did great stuff. They did great stuff here, and Becky winning was the right call. Tremendous action. One of my favorite matches of the year. Easily a great women's match, which just properly paced. Can't praise this enough. And it's not the only women's match that's going to be featured on the rest of this list. We get to number 12. Tomohiro Ishii versus Kota Ibushi from G1 Climax 31 Night 3. So they just murdered each other. Chopping, kicking, and everything and all that. My God, it was brutal. Ishii not giving a shit because he doesn't have a neck, and Kota doesn't care about his neck, so it's a perfect storm of them killing each other. And that's pretty much what they did. And obviously it was to be expected that this would be a tremendously hard-hitting match, and anytime you get Ishii and Kota Ibushi and have them even slightly motivated, you're going to get a really good match, which you got here. Number 11, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shingo Takagi, G1 Climax 31 Night 3. Staying on Night 3, because Night 3 was pretty much the highlight of the G1, in my personal opinion. Because after that, we got some matches that were fine, but there's only like 2 other matches that are ranked any higher from the G1 on this list. Bit of a spoiler. Zack Sabre Jr. just wrenching on the shoulder of Shingo and eventually getting him to tap out was just fucking... I was like, holy shit, he actually got him to tap out. Now, this would lead to Shingo not being in the finals, which was the right call, but Zack Sabre Jr. and Shingo, as far as styles and everything, they told the story of, like, their clashing styles, and Shingo beating Zack Sabre Jr. in a quick match, I think like under 10 minutes at a Rev Pro show, or maybe it wasn't even Rev Pro, maybe it was a show in Germany. It was one of the two. I forget exactly what Chris Charlton said on commentary, but they told the story where Zack Sabre Jr., he ain't the same young boy that he dealt with, and Shingo found that out when Shingo got his arm basically ripped out when he did that arm, just extension and everything. It's like, he tapped out, and I'm like, God damn, look at Zack Sabre Jr. fucking doing great work in the G1. And then 2 down, 7 to go, as you were. Now we get into the top 10. Okay, so I don't have a budget to do the fanfare stuff. I apologize. Number 10, Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. WrestleMania 37, Night 2, 1. It was Night 1. Wrote down Night 2 for some reason, probably because, I was thinking of Night 2 Electric Boogaloo for the SmackDown Women's Championship. The one good call that Michael Cole had all year. For the first time ever, 2 African-American women main eventing a WrestleMania. Big goddamn deal. It was something like that. But the whole point is that this is a big deal for Sasha Banks and Bianca, and it was as good as you could expect. The build was a little dodgy, and that's not the women's fault. It was just, it was the fault of creative and everything, but this was exactly what it needed to be as far as just hard-hitting action. That whip sound and that slash left on Sasha's stomach, that sound, I think it echoed in the frickin' Miami. It was insane. But this was great goddamn shit for historical purposes especially, but you can have historical purposes and then you could have a match that's kind of average. Well, that wasn't the case here. These women arrived, they did some great action, and Bianca Belair winning, hugely emotional. We got to see pictures afterwards of Sasha being all happy and everything. She would go away for a bit to go, I believe, film more of The Mandalorian. Good on her. Get Gina Carano off that goddamn set, if you know what I mean. But maybe she could try not being a fucking idiot. But anyway, Bianca and Sasha did really, really good work here, and they absolutely deserved to be the main event. It was fucking phenomenal. Number 9, Shingo Takagi versus Kazuchika Okada and Dominion in Osaka. Well, after Will Ospreay hurt his whittled neck and had to go away and everything, they had to come up with a champion. And Shingo Takagi was it. And he beat Okada in a great match. I think we all thought Okada was going to win, even though Okada had the bad back. It's like, put the belt on Okada, he'll figure it out. That's pretty much what they've been doing for the last number of years. And then somebody realized, hey, wait a second, let's give Shingo the opportunity. They did, and it's worked out. Shingo carries himself like a champion and works so goddamn good. How could you not give him a chance as IWGP World Heavyweight Champion? I hope that he retains, considering we're going to have Will Ospreay being part of the Wrestle Kingdom festivities, apparently, even though there's travel restrictions right now as far as New Japan is going, so that's going to kind of put some Wrestle Kingdom stuff up in the air, unless people want to quarantine for a while. We will see. But Shingo beating Okada here was a big goddamn deal because everybody thought, all the eggs in the basket, the Okada basket, and Okada's going to win because that's just what Okada does. And then Shingo got it. And it was glorious. And now he's had a great reign ever since. So now we move on to number 8. Shingo Takagi versus Jeff Cobb, Never Openweight Championship, Wrestle Kingdom 15, Night 2. God damn. One of my favorite matches of the year, bar none. This was top 5 before, and then when I thought about it more, even though it's really, really good and still really fucking good, to me, it was a standout of Night 2. By far. And it was the match actually that stood out the most as far as something that I rewatched more than once, because it was just them going full bore, crashing into each other, like, the tour of the islands, but, but Cobb hurt his knee. Shingo just trying to chop down the bigger Jeff Cobb, because even though Shingo's stout, Jeff Cobb was like, no, you're not going to do that. I'm going to take you down. And man, it was fucking tremendous. Such a goddamn highlight of the weekend. Really, really good stuff. I can't praise it enough. Go fucking check it out. Wrestle Kingdom 15, Night 2, Electric Boogaloo. Please check it out. Cobb versus Shingo Takagi. Fucking tremendous. Number 7, MJF versus Darby Allin. Full Gear 2021. Okay, yeah, I mean, you got to put this on there. This is one of the best opening matches that AEW has put on pay-per-view in a while. This is one of the best opening pay-per-view matches in quite a while. It's not quite Bret Owen, but it's something that could hold up as far as featuring two, young talents in this company that were getting well established and everything, and would Darby be able to out-wrestle MJF and, keep his anger in, and would MJF be able to beat him with a side headlock takeover? And you can check out my Full Gear review if you want to hear more thoughts on this, but the bottom line is even through all the stuff, he couldn't break Darby, but he managed to use a diamond, battle royal ring, and then he pinned him with a side headlock takeover. And it's great. It's just great stuff. And I had to put at least one MJF match high on this list, because whenever MJF wrestles, it means something, and this match really fucking meant something. And Darby just does not want to be walking by the age of 40. Probably isn't going to be walking by the age of 35 if he keeps diving like that. But it was a great opening match. Number 6, Shingo Takagi versus Tomohiro Ishii, G1 Climax 31, Night 1. Okay, Shingo and Ishii clubbing each other and destroying each other and beating each other up. How could you not love it? I mean, I don't think these guys loved it. They probably had to ice themselves like crazy because they were just destroying each other and beating each other up and clubbing each other down, as you would expect these two to do. But goddamn, it was wonderful. It was brutal. It was crazy. And it was just a great goddamn match. And obviously Ishii was not going to get the victory. Ishii only got a few victories during this G1 tournament, but he would end up winning the Never Openweight Championship from Jay White at New Japan Battle in the Valley in San Jose, California, about a month after that. And it was a great goddamn match, as you would expect. Number 5, Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega, Dynamite Grand Slam. Yes! A Kenny Omega match in the top 5. Woo! Again, I can praise Kenny Omega when he does really, really good shit. And this was really good shit. The draw didn't even bother me, because it was great stuff. It was Bryan Danielson getting to do what he wanted to do and wrestle the way he wanted to wrestle and everything. And now he can pace himself better, not have to worry about traveling as much, because, AEW only runs a part-time schedule, and it's really, really good. Maybe Bryan Danielson could be part of, a couple of the indie shows that I'm going to be going to going forward. Maybe he could show up at the New Japan Strong tapings. Easy for me to say. As for this match, it was great. It was fucking great. Omega was full-on dickish heel. Bryan Danielson was, kicking him and doing some stuff. There was great chops, great stuff. Bryan Danielson's chest was all red. They paced us well. It was great shit. It was a pay-per-view worthy match on free TV and a great way to open Dynamite Grand Slam, and that was a big goddamn deal in Arthur Ashe Stadium. But this was great. It was great shit, and I can't praise it enough. Really, really enjoyable. Now we move on to number 4. Yes, number 4 that I thought was better than that, even though I'm sure that will give me some hate. Jeff Cobb versus Kazuchika Okada G1 Climax 31B Block Finals. Thank you very much, Bobby. I will never be able to unhear it that way, or I'll never be able to hear it any other way ever again. So, Cobb was 2 points ahead of Okada, and could Okada beat Jeff Cobb after he lost at Wrestle Grand Slam MetLife? Well, of course Okada was going to win, because he was 2 points down. If they were tied, then it would have been up in the air. Not like that George Clooney movie. It would have been Anna Kendrick, though. Anyway, moving on from, fantasizing about Anna Kendrick, enough of that, even though we all do it, and if you say you don't, you're lying to yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Okada obviously beat Jeff Cobb, but there was a big goddamn moment here with them just doing such great shit as far as Cobb just, overpowering Okada, even though Okada's a very strong individual, and just the amount of, great shit that they did. It was so wonderful to see. And Okada finally beating Jeff Cobb and winning, the B Block, and getting that. It was, even though it was a tie, the tie goes to the person that beat, whoever they were tied with. And that's what happened, and Okada won. But Jeff Cobb, tremendous fucking run. Give Jeff Cobb a singles title run in the next year. Never openweight U.S. Championship. I don't care. Give him some kind of run, because Jeff Cobb is fucking tremendous. But this is a great goddamn match. And we move on to number 3. Anyway, number 3. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Thunder Rosa. Lights out match from AEW Dynamite St. Patrick's Day Slam. So, obviously on St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, it was a lights out match, and it was, no DQ and a whole bunch of stuff. And sure, you could argue that, I may be sounding hypocritical because I didn't mind the thumbtacks being used here. And sure, the thumbtacks are always a little bit overdone, but the women doing this here, they had already had a match at Beach Break. But Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker had a hell of a goddamn feud building up to this point. And they just straight up brutalized each other. Britt getting bloodied and everything. Thunder Rosa bleeding, some great goddamn impactful maneuvers. The table bump to end the goddamn match. The tacks and all this stuff and craziness. I'm usually against a lot of hardcore stuff like that, but these women made it work. It wasn't just a great women's match. It was a great, it was a great fucking fight with a lot of craziness and everything, and I fucking loved it. And it's in my top 3 because, one, Britt Baker has definitely, absolutely, rose up as far as her stock in the company. And Thunder Rosa, I can't say enough good shit about Thunder Rosa. I fucking love watching any matches she's in, whether she's with somebody that is, new to the business, or somebody that's a veteran, somebody that's more experienced, somebody that's as experienced as her. She's always going to put on a top quality performance because she's just that goddamn good. And these women, boy, did they fucking earn the main event spot. Number 2, Walter versus Elia Dragunov, NXT UK Championship Takeover 36. The last takeover, seemingly. I guess that's kind of fitting, because at least this match was a good way to go out. Could they match what they did the previous year, when they were in the British studios, whatever the fuck the studios is, and they were just brutalizing each other, and it was one of my favorite matches of the year? Yes, they could. They did do that. They absolutely did that. They straight up destroyed each other. Elia was fucking beaten down, but was always in it. Walter was just, being the beast and chopping him down. But Elia kept, just being like a pit bull, getting on his neck and everything and stuff like that. And I love the finish. Wrenching up on his neck, and then Walter tapping out. People were like, I didn't want to see Walter tap out. It made sense. Because Elia just kept hanging on like a pit bull, just, hey, Spike. He just kept hanging on him like that, to the point that, Walter just couldn't take it. Even a man as big as Walter eventually has a pain threshold that he reaches, and Elia managed to crack that pain threshold. And it was great shit. Number 1, Tetsuya Naito versus Kota Ibushi for the heavyweight championship at Wrestle Kingdom 15 Night 1. I am not going to put the Jay White match on here. I'll tell you why I'm not putting the Jay White match on here. Because that match went on for 48 fucking minutes and it should have gone maybe 28. Because Jay White has to stall on every single one of his matches. I know that's controversial, but I'm going to fucking say it here anyway. Naito versus Ibushi was a better moment anyway because some people thought we're just going to have Ibushi's going to lose again and that's going to be it. When Ibushi won, it was an explosion, just happiness and thrilled and everything, and wrestling Twitter exploded. So many people exploded. I exploded. And man, it was really hard to pick up the pieces. But this was such good shit and such a great moment to see Kota Ibushi finally realize his dream, and then he took the 2 titles and put them together. Because why the fuck wouldn't you do that and anger a whole bunch of people, taking the brief but good lineage of the IWGP Intercontinental Championship and eliminating that? Just toss it in the bin. But before we knew about that, this match, fucking tremendous. Naito and Ibushi doing great shit and ending Wrestle Kingdom Night 1 on a very high note. So, those are my matches. Those are my picks. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Recklin. I'll see you soon.